Hi guys, what's going on? So Brandon Bam Bam Rios versus Mike Alvarado, third installment coming up. Now, first of all, I think a lot of channels are not talking about this that much, and I think the reason is because it's happened twice, and we've not they cannot see the improvements that each fighter has made. Really, they cannot see. I think a lot of channels aren't seeing where one fighter has gone down or the other fighter has gone up, any improvements. They're thinking it's going to be the same old stuff in the third fight, and potentially, yeah, it could be like that. I want to. It's probably going to be quite a short video this because there isn't really too much to talk about. I mean, you look at Brandon Rios, he's taken a loss to Pacquiao, right? He's faced Diego Chavez. I had him up in the fight. Some people had him down. I had him up in the fight when the disqualification happened. It's just obviously scoring is in boxing nowadays. Scoring is very split. I mean, almost every fight that happens, the splits in boxing scoring. It's difficult, you know. But that's how it is. Mike Alvarado, on the other hand, he's lost against Juan Manuel Marquez. Got knocked down in the fight. He lost the decision. Rios, really, he's only lost to Pacquiao clean. Alvarado, really, only Marquez clean. And obviously, there's the Provodnikov fight as well. Provodnikov overpowered him and destroyed him. Now, to me, I think that Mike Alvarado, he's been through more wars than Rios has in a way. I think that when Rios gets hit, he doesn't. I think it looks worse than what it actually is. And I think that Mike Alvarado, the beating and the punishment that he's taken of recent from Provodnikov, and the beating and punishment he took from Marquez, they were two solid wars he's had. Whereas Rios has gone up against Pacquiao, yeah, he took some hardcore flush punches, but I don't think it was the same. It's gonna have the same damaging effect that Mike Alvarado's had from the fight with Marquez and Provodnikov. But I don't know, man. They're both still young, and I don't know if that's gonna have any effect. I think that when we look at the Brandon Rios versus Diego Chavez fight, I saw some slight improvements in Brandon Rios with his head movement, cutting off the ring a little bit. But obviously it was a messy fight, so it was difficult to take much from that fight. In this third fight, I'm expecting another war. Obviously, it's not going to be any less than another war. But I think that we're going to see a little bit more head movement from Brandon Rios, and it's going to be interesting to see how the losses have affected each fighter. And I think that the loser of this fight, similar to when I was talking about Alexander and Sean Porter, I think the loser of this fight really doesn't have too much more for them at 147. I think that if it's Brandon Rios, he's still got the fan base and whatnot, but it's going to be difficult for him to really get back in the elite mix at 147 pounds. Brandon Rios used to fight at 140, but obviously now a 147 fighter. I think that Rios, if he wants to beat Alvarado in this fight, I feel that he needs to use his head movement a lot more. I think he's the shorter fighter, and because he is the shorter fighter, he needs to fight low and avoid more punches. I think he needs to, instead of just avoiding punches with his hands, keeping his chin tucked low, I think Brandon Rios needs to use that head movement a little bit more, and I think concentrate on defense, but also on output of punches. It needs to be high because Alvarado is there to be hit. I don't think Rios needs to go into... If Rios goes into this fight thinking, balls for wall, I'm going to get into a war, it ain't going to be good. Do you know what I mean? You're just going to see lots of blood splattering everywhere, and you're going to see a crazy-ass fight. Yeah, cool for the fans. But I think that if Rios truly wants to win, he has to improve his technical aspects. And Rios is not a bad fighter. People don't give him credit. I think Rios is actually a good fighter, and I think that he can win this fight. I think Mike Alvarado, on the other hand, I think he's a decent fighter, but I truly don't think he is as good as Brandon Rios is. I think Rios is slightly the better fighter out of the two. And that's why I truly think Rios can win this fight, but he's got a challenge ahead of him. We know these two fighters are very, very evenly matched. And I think whichever fighter goes into the ring with a smarter game plan, who is thinking more in this fight rather than just trying to go for a brutal war, I think that fighter will win this fight. But obviously, they both are them warrior fighters who give it all, balls to the wall. Leave your comments in the section below. Tell me what you think of this fight. What do you think each fighter needs to do to win this fight? In a bit.